Hello to you, YouTube, and hello to you, my metalheads. This is Duke Krishna once again. Today's video is going to be focusing on cleans, that is, normal old generic singing in extreme metal music. So, how I'm going to divide this video up is I'm going to first just be talking about my thoughts about it in a general sense, and then I'm going to be sort of glossing over particular subgenres of metal. And yeah, I'm going to jump right into it. So first of all, extreme metal music, obviously, in order to be considered an extreme metal band, you gotta be extreme, right? It's not really extreme if you're just fa la 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 la, I kill people, fa la 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 la, blah blah blah, eat people and stuff, huh? No, that's kind of ridiculous. Uh, but that being said, if you can do cleans and it's not overdone and it helps the atmosphere of the music and conveys a certain message in it and helps enhance it, then I don't really have an issue with it. That being said, you kind of have to walk a fine line with it. And there's a lot of opinions on it. So, depending on this line that you walk, you're going to have people that are like, nope, absolute zero, no singing in extreme metal. You're going to have people that are like, 50-50 is fine. But generally speaking, you don't have someone who says, I want to listen to a death metal band that does not scream at all. It's like, wait, no, that's not really a death metal band. Same with black metal or grindcore. It's just like, no. So that's it. You gotta do it tastefully. You gotta be careful with it, right? So if you have a long history of not including cleans, and then just all of a sudden you have an album that's like 50% cleans, it's a little off-putting to people, right? It's like, wait a second, what? Huh? Especially if you go to a show and it's like everyone expects this kind of sound, and then all of a sudden they're singing, and you're like, wait, is this serious, or are you trolling me? I don't know. You gotta be tasteful and strategic about it. I think that it can really help a band in creating a unique sound, but it can also really hurt them. So, more of my stories, be careful with it. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people are in between. So it can really make a unique sound in your musical content, but sometimes being too unique is not a good thing, I guess. If you're too radical or avant-garde, and then no one really knows what to qualify you as, it puts you in more of a niche market, I guess. So, I'm going to start off with cleans in death metal. Are there cleans in death metal? Not really. I mean, no, not really. I mean, there's some, like, sound clips and things. I'm sure there's a handful of bands out there that do it very sparingly. But I can't actually think of a single death metal band that I say has cleans. That being said, I guess if a band could pull it off, then they could pull it off, right? But it would have to be a very particularly skilled band that has kind of been doing that from the get-go, and that's kind of what they're known for. I mean, I know some bands that are heavier that do clean vocals, but I don't really know if they're considered death metal. Like, Faceless, I think, are like deathcore. Betraying the Martyrs, I think, are more deathcore, but I'm really not familiar with their music, so don't, go all ooh on me. I really don't know. I've only seen them live once, and I have done no research on their music in any way, shape, or form besides that. So anyway, I'm just going to gloss over death metal, because it's really not a thing that's really talked about very much. So, black metal. I feel like the normal person who listens to black metal understands that there are cleans in black metal. And not every band, you don't have to have cleans. I'd say the majority of them don't, but there's still a sizable portion that do. And it's not even obscure bands like Emperor, maybe not the first album or two, but they have a decent amount of cleans, and there's other bands out there that do too. It's not all that unknown. I mean, it is a little bit more prevalent in more melodic and symphonic black metal, but it's not solely that. There's also the sort of whispered lyrics that you can find in uh, like Cradle of Filth and Hecate Enthroned or Entombed. I want to say Enthroned. Yeah, Hecate Enthroned. That they kind of do this whispering, like creepy little talk, and then all of a sudden you go, ah! Yeah, that's a thing. But that's cool because it adds to the sort of environment and it's kind of like building up on tension, and I like that. Um, Also, you can be creepy and terrifying singing and still be doing black metal. You could be singing and screaming at the same time. You can sort of go in between and do this sort of singing slash talking thing, not to sound like Kesha, but you know what I mean. It's really not unknown. You have to do it right, and it has to be in the right sort of context of black metal. You can do a little bit of creepy background stuff if it was atmospheric, or um, like suicidal depressive black metal. Sure, you could pull it off if you do it right. Like I said, with melodic and symphonic, sure. But if you're doing like raw, true cult style, no, no, I don't know how you could do it. Maybe you could possibly do it a little bit. It's like an intro or outro or some cool little effect, but I don't know. Not so much about that. And the thing is, I don't see a lot of people giving black metal crap for using clean vocals. I don't see that as an issue on Facebook or YouTube comments or anything. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. There's plenty of bands like that out there that do some or a little bit. Sure, why not? Cool. Um, Deathcore, I think, is the main bulk of discussion in clean vocals. Deathcore does have some clean vocals in it. I think some of the issues that some people just say, no, not at all. I get in the context of death metal or slam or whatever. I can understand that. Deathcore, I think, is a little wishy-washy. It is inspired out of, like, metalcore and hardcore, punk and whatnot. It has different kind of influences that have came into it. So I can kind of, understand that. And in the early days of deathcore, there was what was called like group chanting, where people, the first thing that pops in my mind is Annotations of an Autopsy. I think it is. Where it's like, we bleed her. She bleeds from every fucking hole. She bleeds from every fucking hole. And then it just like goes off with some pig squealing and shit. Which I think is nice as sort of like an entryway and a segue into a big moment. This band has done it a decent amount, more so, in their first few albums. It's really not that unknown of a thing. Some bands, such as Angel Maker, are trying to like bring it back, which is cool. I love Angel Maker. But anyway, I don't see the issue with it. Now, if you're doing it a lot, if you're just group chanting like a motherfucker all the goddamn time, it's like, okay, this is a deathcore part. Where's the death part happening in this? So you gotta mix it in where it feels right. Otherwise, it just kind of seems awkward. It would just be like turning on any normal old radio station and just hearing Justin Bieber with like half of his vocals are, growls. It would just be really awkward and no one would understand it. Death metal people and any metalheads would be like, what the shit is happening? Pop fans are like, holy shit, why does he worship Satan all of a sudden? It's the same fucking thing as if you just don't fucking use those type of vocals in deathcore, death metal, black metal, Yeah, it's weird, if you did completely singing with any of those genres, it doesn't make sense. But with deathcore, like, the group chanting has been around since the get-go. And there are bands out there that do have little moments of clean vocals in them. most notably, in my opinion, because I love this band, Fit for an Autopsy. Since they included clean vocals into their lyrics, I hadn't even heard of them until a couple years ago, and then I felt like an idiot for not hearing about them because it's only been their like most recent two albums that they've had clean vocals in it, and even the second most recent, it was very sparingly. And they're a fucking amazing band, and The Great Collapse is like one of the fucking best albums of this year. And yeah, without those vocals, and particularly in The Great Collapse by Fit for an Autopsy, it would not have been the same album. There wouldn't be those catchy, memorable sort of choruses and whatnot that brings in a lot of audience. You know, that's a thing in pretty much any other genre of music. People really remember the chorus and know the lyrics, right? It's a little wishy-washy for extreme metal, but it really helps the sort of catchiness and remembering the lyrics. And if you have particularly meaningful lyrics, it makes it even more meaningful. So I don't really have an issue with it if it's done sparingly. Right? That's fine. But, you know, if you're like Suicide Silence, yeah, and you just all of a sudden just ram it down your throat and do a job at it, and then talk shit about people who don't want to change and this and that. No, not so much. Not really my thing. Yeah. So in deathcore and black metal, like, cool. If you can do it well, then by all means do it. Now, when it comes to grindcore, generally speaking, I will be like, hell no, what the fuck? Grindcore is just non-stop blast beats. It's fucking insane, crazy fucking fills, and just all over the goddamn place. It doesn't fucking make sense to go no, it's already fucking crazy enough. No, it would be comical. I mean, some people think like grindcore and like porno grind in particular are comical. Kind of agree with porno grind part, but still, it would be really off-putting. You know, it's hard to take grindcore seriously at times, specifically the more like brutal kind of shit, the like less political stuff. But yeah, no, I can't do it. I'm death grind. Yeah, sure. Fucking cattle decapitation. Are you kidding me? The fucking like banshee screams or banshee howls, as he calls them. That shit's fucking amazing. It fucking adds so much to the music. They were a great fucking band before they had that, and when they put those in, it made like the songs more, they're already a very political band, and now you understand more of it, and you don't have to invest all the time and effort into looking at the lyrics as much. It really adds to the environment, and it makes it a very, very, very unique sound. I think Cattle Decapitation already had a unique sound, but adding those sort of semi-sung and semi-screamed vocals together into one sound really is just like they're one and only with that. And oh god, I fucking love Cattle Decapitation. But I think if you're death grind or like blackened grindcore, like for example, Anal Nathrak has some clean vocals in there, and I like them. And Anal Nathrak is kind of hard to classify, like blackened grindcore with some industrial mixed in there, but it really makes sense with them because it's not just constant insane blast beats and just ridiculous fucking easy but really fast riffs. And it kind of is like a fucking roller coaster, or it gets really fucking crazy and then just kind of like builds up and does something a little bit more symphonic that just plunges you into it. So it really makes sense for what they are doing. But for a straight up grindcore band, no. Sorry, no. Yeah, no. No. So I guess it really just depends for me personally, and I really wish people were a tad bit open-minded with it. I know a lot of people are, but I know there's a lot of really close-minded people out there, and I feel like if they found a certain band such as Cattle Decapitation that kind of like tread that thin line between singing and screaming, or like I had said before, Cradle of Filth, almost like whispered sing talk thing, and Hecate Enthroned that did a very similar sound. A lot of people think they were a rip-off band of the early Cradle of Filth, but that's a different topic for a different time. But if you can kind of appreciate some of those type of lyrical styles first, then maybe you could work on understanding group chats or group chants and shouts and whatnot, and other type of clean vocals. Then you really should try, before you just say absolutely no. I think that's kind of short sighted and doesn't truly encompass metal as a whole and extreme metal, because there is definitely a place for clean vocals, but they have to be in very particular circumstances by particular bands. And yeah, you gotta know what you're doing. You have to be a real fucking artist to be able to pull them off. But when you pull them off, they definitely can add to the sound of your music. So, that brings us to the end of the video. So please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I'd really appreciate it. Like, a lot. So, thank you. Have a good day.